Are you tired of having weak-ass main character from playing other gacha games? Do you want to indulge yourself in gathering waifus or husbands in the world of Solaris 3? Or do you want to fully immerse yourself in gathering wives by using the most balanced character and high self-sustain? If most of your answers are yeses, then pick up that Tyro sword and flirt with all the waifus or husbandos you came across Solaris, while Jue and Fallacy are trying to hunt you down for chasing that Montelli shorty. And this is my experience from using Light Mode Rover since CBT2. Spectro Rover is the most balanced unit in the game. He comes with built-in energy regen, team healing, resistance reduction, fast concerto, low cooldown, snap control, self-crit buff, risk and charisma, and all the special stats you need as a starting character in the world of Solaris.
You mean you've also?
Just look at them. How could they radiate so much sex appeal for the waifus or husbandos? After failing so many times, he is back once again to gather all the wives or husbandos, to fix all of his past mistakes, and to not step on the same death flag. Well, hopefully not like me who keeps stepping on the same landmines in Fallout 4. Rover's main gameplay revolves around his basic attacks. It consists of 4 consecutive strikes with a special property, and this is his bread and butter. You have to master his basic attacks, so I'll be explaining all of its nuance. Bestowed by the power of holding hands from Goddess Lucia, Rover is now hungry for anything that stimulates that grabby feeling. His third basic attacks, Rover will throw a special fidget spinner to spin in front of him. If you wait and time it properly, he will do a special move. I like to call this move the grabber. Whether it's balls, boobas, ass, you name it, whichever the enemy has, Rover will grab anything. This move is so strong that whenever you successfully grab your enemies, they will be in so much pain or pleasure that they lose their ability to stand upright. Not only that, this move also destroys the crap out of minerals. So, you can imagine how dangerous a Rover's grab is. But who gives a crap to this timing shit when you can just basic hold grab? You'll be doing this 80% of the time. After a successful grabbing, pressing basic attack, Rover will also suck up the sound and soul out of your enemy, granting you massive forte energy. We will talk about this later. His heavy attack will allow Rover to jump backwards and throw similar spectral fidget spinner at the enemy, but with shorter distance. Typing the attack after this will do his grabby move. The rule applies that a successful grabbing will be followed up by this motion, meaning you successfully stole their breathing abilities. We'll talk about the significance of this move later. A failed attempt to grab the enemy's assets will reset Rover's basic attacks into his first move. His dodge counter is also a grabbing move, but the difference is that Rover will lock in and slide to the enemy's balls or boobas, but he's so determined he will slide and grab it. This move is so strong and broken that Kuro has to nerf it by giving his dodge counter less than half a second iframe, so be careful. His first basic attack and the third or hold attack are perfect for parrying enemies' attacks. Use this to your advantage, especially his third basic attack, because you can parry enemy at a distance. You think you can grab me? Fuck you. As you can see, Rover is trained at handholding, thanks to Goddess Lucia. His basic attacks are his main gameplay gimmicks, so get the feel of his basic attacks and you'll be a professional molester in no time. Rover's resonance skill will pitch slap the enemies in a 180. That's it. It has no other effect except for being cool as heck. That rhymes. We'll talk about his enhanced resonance skill later. Rover's liberation will make Rover throw a sound bomb, rupturing enemies' ears and frequencies, just like how you drop your drinking glass in the middle of the night when your family are sleeping. This sound bomb's range is deceptively large, covering huge circular area better than your Havoc Rover. I'll give you a demonstration with this picture. Not only it deals decent damage, with the recent encounter with your AI wife, your past self gives you a new effect on your liberation. Your liberation now will force the enemy's hit with light mode, poisoning their vision with sunlight UV poisoning and touch grass energy. This poisoning will be very useful for certain setups. We'll talk about this later. Intro skill. Rover does a superhero landing and deals 1 instance of damage and recovers 1 stock of his forte. That's it. Just like Jinzhou's, the timing to parry with this thing is a little bit weird. It's pretty tight. Outro skill. Rover does a Zawarudo, turning your enemies into your personal bitches for a few seconds. This outro is very useful for some setups, as some resonators don't want to be interrupted when they are dealing damage or setting up buffs. You can even pair this with a certain Mafia shorty to put almost unlimited freeze onto the enemy. Be careful because his Zawarudo won't prevent you from taking damage. That's right, you can still get clapped if you are not careful. Now let's talk about his main characteristic. Rover has 2 stock reserved for his forte, as you can see here. He can store maximum of 2 stocks. Every time Rover does damage from his basic attacks, he will slowly regenerate this stock. Introing gives you 1 stock. Other than introing, the fastest way to get his forte, you know, grab your enemies. Every time you successfully violate the enemy and grabbing the soul out of them, Rover will restore a lot of forte energy. This is why I told you to master his basic attacks. Having a stock will enhance your resonance skill from 180 pitch slap into 360 pitch slapper, dealing 2 instances of damage while also applying 2 stacks of UV poisoning. Successfully performing 360 pitch slap will allow you to do a 360 pitch slasher that deals significant amount of pitch slappery. All of this damage is considered as resonance skill damage. The 360 pitch slapper restores quite a chunk of concerto energy, so make sure you always resonance skill after having 1 stock. This forte and liberation are the only 2 ways for you to apply UV radiation poisoning. Light mode Rover has a lot of moves that can be quick swapped, like this 360 pitch slapper. So test it around and you will be a master quick swapper in no time. His first forte node will make your 360 pitch slasher slash harder. His second forte node will give attack whenever you do his grab move. This is why I said to you that you have to do a lot of his grab to get the attack and do a lot of 360 pitch slapper. Now that you've learned about his basics, let's talk about his sequences. Notably his first, fourth, and sixth. His first sequence will give himself crit rate whenever you do a 360 pitch slapper and 360 pitch slasher. Noise. His second sequence gives him double sound power. His third sequence will allow you to charge his sound bomb faster. His fourth sequence will allow you to heal all of your friends after rupturing enemies' eardrums. Healing is based on how jacked your Rover is. His fifth sequence will allow you to not only rupture enemies' eardrums, it will also rupture enemies' lungs. His sixth sequence, his 360 pitch slapper and pitch slasher, will reduce enemies' protection against light mode and UV radiation. Very nice. Now that you have mastered his personal infos, let me show you how to do his rotation for using him as a damage dealer or a support. Let's talk about his supporting rotation first. After introing, immediately spend one stock of his forte to do a 360 pitch laser. If you have ult, immediately cast it. After that, just spam your grabbing move 2 times with heavy attack or third basic grab. Use 360 pitch laser whenever it's available. But what if I don't have my intro? I got you, fam. After switching, just do his Michael Jackson moves and grab all those balls and boobas like there's no tomorrow. 1 forte stock, immediate resonance skill. Ult whenever available. Let's talk about his damage rotation. Complete his dance moves or by throwing his fidget spinner and grab and pull, activate his last forte node buff. After successful grab and getting 1 stock, immediately do a 360 pitch slapper to lower enemies' UV resistance. Apply UV poisoning and get your seconds 1 crit buff. Cancel that with an echo skill and immediately cast your sound bomb to take advantage of all your self buff. Congratulations! You now have mastered the art of light mode rover. A true light mode rover will always be flexible when using him as a main damage dealer, but a true OG knows that plunging attack is Rover's favorite move. Spam the crap out of them. Now that you've learned his rotation, let's talk about his setup. If you want full immersion mode, use this Tyro sword. Now if only Kuro has this weapons coating so I can change the appearance of this stupidly good standard sword. Normally you will be using this free sword. What? You don't have this sword? What the heck are you doing with your account? You can also steal Ara via Renaissance weapon since it buffs Rover's pitch slapper. If you somehow don't have the free 5-star sword, the only other option is this craftable green sword or this cat sword. This free sword you get from the new account free box, or this free sword you can choose when completing Black Shore story. Use the new UV poisoning set from Rinasita region because this set can allow you to get almost 100% crit rate whenever you UV poison someone. Use Mosquito as your main echo. Otherwise, the old Spectro set is fine with Jinzhou's adopted mother or old Mosquito as your main, preferably Jinzhou's mother. Or if you're an outlier like me and doesn't want the headache of looking for new sets every time a new rover is released, use Lingering Tune set. Set them up like your usual damage dealer build. Crits, attacks, ER, skill damage, liberation damage. Yes. If you are building rover as a support, use Rejuvenate set or the Moonlit set, preferably Rejuvenate. For Rejuvenate, you want to get his ER as high as possible with both energy regen 3 costs. For Moonlit setups, you can build him like your normal damage dealer, or just build him however you like. Talents. You can level up his basic attacks, Forte Circuit and Liberation. All of his damage comes from these 3. Ignore his resonance skill because you won't be using 180 pitch slap. You'll find that you'll very rarely use this skill. You can also ignore his superhero landing. Now that you have successfully geared up your rover, let's talk about his team. Use this team. What? You think I'm joking? Nothing says fuck you, Staggerbar, better than this team with Yuanwu Empyrean set and Verina on Rejuvenate. You'd be surprised by how often you can intro-outro with Rover and Yuanwu. Fine, I guess you want the normie teams. Fine. Use this team, as Rover himself can solo any content. Well, except when this guy exists. Or use this team. You can take Verina on a world tour, seeing all the new plant species as you travel. That is because this duo is so free to play and strong with all the new setups. Or better yet, use this team because you promise your keeper, your AI wife, to take her on a date to see the world. Because who doesn't like a perfect AI wife? What? You want more mainstream teams? Fine. This team, a duo carry team. Yuanwu as the Rejuvenate or Empyrean Slave, Rover as the Spectro debuffer and Moonlit or Rejuvenate Slave, and Jinzhou as the nuker. Or this team, where Phoebe is married to Rover, as she is very dependent on UV poisoning status. Or this team, to show the Solaris who is the strongest mafia family ever exists. Or use this team, where Sanhua gatekeeps you from chasing other girls, and also to hypersteroid your Rover. But seriously, Rover has so much charisma that you can pretty much put him on any team as a double carry healer bot Moonlit Slave, and he still works. as expected, of a harem king or a harem reverse harem queen. But that's gonna be all for this video. See you next time. Maybe yes.